Short video. This is for YouTube. I just wanted to go live in case anybody hops in, question time, the norm. But I just have had a couple things on my mind for the last, maybe like, I don't know, pretty much since I made the last DeFi video. Over the weekend and over the course of the beginning of this week, just kind of how it's open and stuff like that. A couple things on my mind. The big one for me is this whole DeFi craze. I saw some things on Twitter. I'll pull it up. It seems that living in various chains has become more common. Now we have the TOP protocols that have achieved this goal. How many chains will the most integrated protocol? Everybody's bridging everywhere. It's kind of a mess. Just because right now, I'd like to say it's easy. You just put all your funds on one ecosystem, but it's just not working. It's just honestly not the right approach right now. Just because I feel like every ecosystem is copying each other and using like these awesome financial apps to maximize what people can make on them. I mean, I was really blown away. I'm not really sure if I've mentioned it yet, but if you just look at something like Phantom, right? Phantom has a Aave clone that literally got ported over. It's like a 1-for-1 clone. Let's see if I can find it. I bet you if I put Aave clone. What was it by usage? Volume? No. Should probably find it here. Man, what was it called? Can't believe I'm blanking out like this. Not really the point though. The point is that they copied Aave, and it's like literally the same UI, the same way that they're providing financial incentives where they have an underlying, liquidity ratio, which gives you like a base yield, and then they add on top some kind of financial incentive that comes from a million different places. And like before, it was like good enough to just be using the most innovative apps. Right? Before, it was just easy enough to look for the cleanest UI with the biggest investors and just get in and farm. But now, the whole thing with being an Ethereum Layer 1 solution is like you could just rip ideas straight from other people. This video isn't so much meant for people putting money in right now. It's more for my friends, for acquaintances that I know are holding a ton of altcoins, or people who like being speculative investors and getting into these low market cap coins and stuff like that. That's great. You know what I mean? However you're diversifying that aspect, that portion of your portfolio, just keep doing that. That's a different video. But what I do want to make sure people understand is like, there's a couple different sentiments right now. The bullish sentiment is that Bitcoin is in price exploration, which is pretty self-explanatory. And the bearish explanation, which is a little bit more important, because it's good not to get too hyper fixated on one perspective, is that we're going to have price correction, FUD, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of negative news right now over the US dollar and the US. I mean, who knows? Maybe people want their dollars back and there's going to be a mass liquidation of Bitcoin. I don't think so. I don't see that happening. Right? But regardless, with the scenario that is bearish, which I don't really see happening, and the bullish scenario, which has kind of been people are talking about recently. We could look at the weekly. It's a lot easier for Bitcoin. You want to have some kind of exposure, right? You want to be happy when Bitcoin starts its upward momentum again. Whether it's now, whether it's in 3 months, whether it's in 6 months, whether it's next cycle, doesn't really matter. But the point is, you want to be happy about it. The best way to be happy about price of Bitcoin going up is by having Bitcoin. And it's like, this is like a public service announcement. I mean, I personally am guilty of having not enough Bitcoin. Super underexposed to Bitcoin, super hyper fixated on flipping coins in the short term, you know, maximizing my yields in these ecosystems, to have a ton of stables and stuff like that, but I don't have Bitcoin. So that doesn't mean go buy, you know, it doesn't mean I have to like completely change my strategy. You know, for me, I like yield farming and I like providing liquidity to earn yields. That just means that maybe moving forward, any and all profits that I take are going to be in Bitcoin, so that I can start slowly accumulating a Bitcoin bag, and that way I can be, you know, happy in the best way possible when Bitcoin goes up. That's really all I wanted to say. It's just like when I see this like lack of focus, it's a completely different market sentiment from what I saw a couple of months ago, because before it was like everybody was looking at a couple of big projects, a couple of big ideas, and right now it's kind of like a developmental stage. Like I'm not telling people not to be speculative and try all these different chains and deploy capital there and see which ones are good and create your own kind of you know, information that you're going to hedge later on to say this project's going to be the next big thing and this one's not. Sorry if you hear his nails. Dumbo came in. Yeah, there's a bunch of different chains. Deploy them, you know, deploy capital on them, learn about them and all this stuff. But just a friendly reminder to also make sure you have enough Bitcoin and Ethereum exposure before we move into any kind of more vertical movement. I mean, prior to this, it was really easy for me to be like, I don't really care. We were bouncing between a big range. If you bought the dip, that's great. It was a pretty obvious dip. There was a lot of big FUD. I remember people talking with people on the phone. Like, you know, there were times to buy Bitcoin that have passed. It doesn't mean don't buy it now. It just means now you kind of have to dollar cost average your way in. But you want to do it now before it's too late. Right? You want to make sure that your entirety of your portfolio, you know, 50% or more, has some kind of exposure to Bitcoin, or you know, some kind of combination of Bitcoin and Ethereum. You know, you should just buy Bitcoin if you don't know what you're doing. Just buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin's great. It's gonna outperform. You know, in general, it's gonna keep your portfolios kind of stable. Remember that if you watch like Ben Cohen, who I get a lot of my TA from, and I've been following like this guy. There's people on TikTok, there's people on Reddit, there's all kinds of information you can get. And, you know, people tend to say that when Bitcoin does well, altcoins tend to bleed. That's just kind of because that's not where the focus is at that time. That's not a bad thing. You know, it's not like an inherently bad thing. It's just you want to make sure that you prepare your portfolio for that kind of price movement, and you also have to understand where we are in terms of like an accumulation phase. For me, I'm super excited. I'm a DeFi focused person. So if that means that we're going to get huge discounts and that there's not going to be a lot of attention in these DeFi ecosystems, that means I can get in early at a good price, you know, check out low market cap projects and accumulate a bag, so that after Bitcoin puts an all-time high, after Ethereum puts an all-time high for the next altcoin season, I'm well prepared. That's pretty much it. Really want to make a short video. Recently these videos have been super long. Buy Bitcoin. That's pretty much all I have to say. Oh, in terms of changing your farming strategy, because I said I was a farmer and then I got kind of sidetracked. It's like I'm still going to be providing liquidity on all of these different ecosystems. I'm just going to be providing liquidity en route to Bitcoin. That's really the only big difference. So I'm probably going to see what the best ecosystems are to deploy my Bitcoin on, and then have my stables on different ecosystems wherever those are best optimized, and rotate capital as needed. But obviously the idea is to find a couple comfy spots. I'm looking really for ecosystems where I can stake, farm a coin, buy the governance token, and then stake the governance token so I can get extra rewards. Things like, for example, SpookySwap, that has, you buy Boo, you stake it for X Boo, and you pick a coin that you want your rewards in. I'm not saying a project like Boo. That's definitely not what I'm saying, because Boo is a exchange for different cryptocurrencies. But what I am saying is something like Aave. There's a bunch of Aave clones on different ecosystems. that you can find, deploy your capital on, and get some good exposure. That's really it. I want it to be live for like 15 minutes. That's pretty much it. Charts, not really anything to go over. We talked about Bitcoin. AVAX is bleeding horribly. Hurts so bad. Thankfully, it did recover. You know, we're not at $48, thankfully. Phantom, the weekly is not really going to do me any kind of justice. So you can see, I think we had these lines last stream. Pretty much it's just, yeah, we're bouncing inside of a range. The support line, oh, it's a whole psychological $2 support line thing that happens sometimes. Thankfully, we got off kind of easy on that one, and our really kind of just rushed projections of where we're going to bounce between over the last couple of days have been pretty accurate. I'll update them as needed, and I am posting more on my blog. I recommend in times like these, when it's so straightforward, when it's literally just buy Bitcoin and stake them somewhere and wait, I recommend you read up. And I'm going to be posting a bunch of stuff on my blog, a bunch of links. I want you guys to give me your feedback. I want, you know, to hear if you guys disagree with me. Watch the same videos that I watch. Recommend me any more videos. There's going to be tons of articles also. You know, in terms of things to read and things to study, there's going to be plenty on my website. That's about it. See you guys probably Friday. Yeah, I'm not going to post tomorrow, obviously. It wouldn't make sense to post 3 days back to back, but I'll do my DeFi Friday as per usual, and I'll have this post for those people who missed it. I recommend you follow my YouTube. I am posting a little bit more impulsively. I am posting a little bit more impulsively nowadays. I just kind of, when I feel the need to include something in my DeFi Friday, I'll just, you know, get over here, record it, show some charts, and go live. It'll upload to YouTube, and then I'll just include it in my DeFi Friday post. Yeah, that's it. Take care. Join my Telegram. Subscribe to my YouTube if you want to get like notifications of when the VODs are finished uploading, and then on Twitter and Twitch you can catch me live. I'm gonna let it run for 10 seconds and then I'm gonna cut it just for the YouTube video. Peace.